Starting from the bottom, we have the BARI Sax. Hello everybody, it's your fun neighborhood sax man Alex here. As I said in the previous video, sax sections can vary in instrumentation. You can have 2 sopranos, 2 tenors, and a bari, or you could have your typical 2 altos, 2 tenors, and a bari. But today, I want to talk about the bari and how we can fundamentally build off of the bari all the way to your lead alto, or soprano. So the BARI Sax is the lowest instrument in a big band setting that's typically 2 altos, 2 tenors, and a bari. Of course, there are saxophones that are lower in terms of range than the bari. You have your bass sax and then your contrabass sax. Now, it's not very common for you to ever see a bass sax or a contrabass sax because they are huge. They are enormous. If you've ever seen one, congrats! You've probably seen one of like 10 that exist in this world. But in all seriousness, they are not common, but they are great instruments that just don't get used in this setting. Come to think of it, someone I know actually has a contrabass and a bass sax, and they're very proud of it. It's my good friend Andrew Hadro, so go check him out on his social medias. I'll leave the links down in the description. So the BARI Sax is a very beefy instrument. We have very famous examples such as Jerry Mulligan, Harry Carney, Gary Simoleon, and so many other players that are in this very coveted group of BARI Sax players. One thing to note, if you are a BARI Sax player in your jazz band at high school or middle school, is to not be afraid to honk that horn. As a big band composer, I love to write for BARI because they are a very commanding horn. I don't even know how many times I have to say it. Like, the BARI is beefy. And usually, when I have the opportunity to, I will write melodies for the BARI because it just sounds so beautiful. Again, if you reference a BARI player like Harry Carney, the beautiful melodies that he would play on his horn just made it so unique and so characteristic of that era of Duke Ellington's orchestra. So I highly recommend that you check that out so you can really indulge and just dive into that type of playing because it's beautiful and I just don't hear enough of it and I want more of it. Now, have I played BARI? Yes, I have played BARI. I love it, but I hate it at the same time because I suck at it and I wish I was better. But I appreciate all the BARI players out there. Kudos to you. That is not an easy instrument to play. You really need to know how to control your embouchure on that horn. You need to know how to develop a tone in a different way than you do on the alto, of course. And I thank you for your service. So some of the key things for BARI players when you're playing in a sax section is to make sure that you will most likely be playing either the root or doubling the melody, meaning doubling the lead alto. If you're playing the root, feel free to really grind out that note. You are holding the chord of the sax section together. So it's really important that we hear that low note or else it's going to be pretty ambiguous. If the BARI player is not playing the roots of the chords but rather doubling the lead alto in the melody, then they have to be very conscious of making sure that they don't overpower the lead alto. I've had experiences where BARI players overpower me and it's something, I'll tell you. I never want to be the one to have to tell somebody to back down because, you know, they're feeling it and they're playing the music to their heart's content and I just want them to enjoy the music. But I also don't want to be overpowered because I'm the top voice. So, you know, help each other out. Definitely reinforce the melody, but don't overdo it. Make sure that you're supporting them as much as possible, but make sure that they come out on top. Make sure that you can clearly hear them. If you can't hear them, you're probably playing too loud. Now, there might be instances, such as some pieces in the Duke Ellington Orchestra that you might play, that feature you as a BARI player. And in this case, go nuts. Whatever you want to do in that moment, you are free to do so. BARI players who have featured pieces can do whatever they want, regardless of whether the lead alto player has a higher note. I don't care. I want to hear the BARI player. Now that's just in terms of the section within itself. Sometimes the BARI player will be coupled or doubling notes from different sections, such as the trombone section, and in very rare cases, the trumpet section. Really, it depends on how high the composer's composing for the BARI. If the BARI's super high and like in the legend line register, it could be possible that you are doubled with the fourth trumpet. So in that case, listen to them, blend with them. The hardest thing about playing an instrument, regardless of you being a bari player or a trombone player or a trumpet player, is that you need to be conscious that other people have different tones, different levels of dynamics and different interpretations of the music. So the best thing that you can do to make your band sound even better is to blend with them. If you have a doubled note with, say, the trombone player, make sure that you blend with them. The bari with trombone sounds amazing, and half the time, if there is a trombone chord going on, the bari's probably playing in that section as well. Which is a beautiful thing about the bari, is that it is versatile. It can be part of the trombone section, it can be part of the trumpet section. Really, it's limitless. It can also be a part of a supporting role with the rhythm section as well, but that's kind of almost to be implied, especially when you're playing with your section. Since I cannot play bari, here are some great examples of some great bari players in their respective sections. Now that you have a feel for these bari players, I hope that helps you kind of develop a better understanding of how the bari fits in the big band setting and specifically in the sax section. In the hierarchical pyramid, if we were looking at what the role of a bari sax player is, you're definitely up there with the lead alto and the first tenor. Not to say that every other sax player does not matter, just that I personally, and have heard from my teachers as well, is that they want to hear a healthy balance of the bari versus the lead and the first tenor. Again, this has to do with certain pieces. This also has to do with how compositions rolled out, but I will talk about more of that in my next videos. I hope you understand the bari more. The bari is a beautiful instrument and it does not get enough love, so say thank you to all your bari friends. Little shout out to Gabe. Thank you, Gabe. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and feel free to ask any questions regarding the sax section. And stay saxy!